Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of the DAN Show, and welcome to my breakdown of the Washington, as of today, Redskins, but the name could shortly be changed. And by the way, you can always email me at the danshow@yahoo.com if you want to discuss that, or drop a comment below and let me know what you think about the name or the name change, which is probably going to happen very soon. Now, here's the drill. I'm breaking down all 32 teams for the upcoming 2020 season. This is my breakdown of the Washington like I said, as of now, Redskins. If you're new to my channel, I just got to ask you one simple question. Do you like football? Do you want to talk football? Because if so, you're in the right place. There's this button right around here. See it? See it? See it? Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Now, I do all my videos the same way I break down the teams. I break down what I like, then I break down what I don't like, but stick around for the very end where I break down the Vegas over-under, and if I am putting down money on the Washington, as of now, Redskins. So let's start with what I like about the team in Washington. First thing I like about the team in Washington is the defensive line. Now, I go to Our Lads, and I'll put a link to the Our Lads depth chart below. This is a resource that I use quite a bit. I'm not associated with them. It's just a resource that I use that I really like. They have Chase Young as the starting outside linebacker. If you go to ESPN, he's the starting defensive end, and Montez Sweat is backing him up. It doesn't matter how the defensive line shorts out. Right now, you got 5 number 1 picks on that defensive line. You got Ryan Kerrigan, you got Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat, and now you got Chase Young. My guess is going to be after this season, Ryan Kerrigan's going to be gone, but it doesn't matter. For 2020, you got 3 really good pass rushers, and you got 2 excellent defensive tackles. Both Payne and Allen are from Alabama. I thought that when they both got drafted, they would be better fits in a 4-3 defense. Well, now they're going to play in a 4-3 defense. This defense under Del Rio, the offensive line could be really, really good. It wouldn't surprise me if sometime this season, this defensive line becomes a top 10 defensive line. It also wouldn't surprise me if you see Sweat, Young, and Kerrigan on the field in some obvious passing situations. This defense is going to be a lot of fun, but how you want to get these 3 defensive ends in there is going to be a little difficult for 2020. Like I said, Kerrigan's going to be gone in 2021 most likely, and you'll have Sweat and Young on the outside, and that is going to be a lot of fun if you're well, let's just call them Redskins for right now fan. The second thing I really like is Dwayne Haskins. They were really lucky that he fell all the way to 15 in the draft, but here's the thing, they completely mismanaged him. They had him on the scout team, and then after he was on the scout team, not even working with the second team, then they just threw him into the Wolves. But bottom line, as far as potential, he's got top 10 potential. The arm talent is there. It's just a question of getting everything else developed around him. But as far as pure talent, you got a top 10 quarterback. It's just a question of, will that talent develop, and will it develop this year? But I love Dwayne Haskins. I almost cringed every time somebody did a mock draft and they had Tua going at number 2. It just showed that they didn't do the homework, because Haskins can play. It's just a question of, can they get everything else working around him? He still needs development, but the talent is there. The Redskins do have a franchise quarterback. It's only a question of development now. Third thing I like about the Redskins is the running back room. You got Darius Geis. He's got all the tools to be a star running back in the NFL. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy. And then don't forget, you also had Bryce Love, who was a Heisman candidate before he tore his ACL in college. You got him with the 4th round pick. He really didn't play much or hardly at all last year, but I felt that Geis and Love were an excellent 1-2 punch. Then you got first ballot Hall of Famer Adrian Peterson, who's had over 1,800 yards the last 2 years. Teams are able to focus on Adrian Peterson. He entered last year at 73 years old. Of course, I'm being a little facetious here. But bottom line, if you're running that 4-minute offense, you're up by 5. It's a 4th quarter late. I'm giving the ball to Adrian Peterson. I'm letting him run out the clock. He still has some juice. He still has some gas left. I like that. But bottom line, Ultimately, Darius Geis needs to be the number one running back. In a perfect world, Adrian Peterson gets something like 100, 150 touches. Bryce Love also contributes. Fourth and final thing that I like is that you got Dwayne Haskins, your young quarterback, some help. Now, Antonio Gibson, the third round pick, according to our lads and ESPN, they have him as a running back. I think he's going to be a receiver. If you didn't watch this guy play at Memphis, this guy is really exciting. Played both receiver, running back, return kicks, do it all. Really athletic, explosive. He's 6'2", 220. I think eventually he's going to be a wide receiver. They have him listed as a running back right now, but it doesn't matter because bottom line, you didn't have a second round pick because you traded up to get Sweat last year, but you went ahead and used your third and fourth round picks for players to help Dwayne Haskins. Your fourth round pick is Antonio Gandy Golden, small school player out of Liberty. Here's what I like about him. He's very athletic. He's about 6'4", 210. I think he has a 40-inch vertical, lots of athleticism. Gibson, 6'2", 220. Again, big play, big threat player, tons of athleticism. I like that because you got a young quarterback, give him some tools. So you use third and fourth round picks on athletic, even though they're smaller school players, athletic players that could potentially be really, really good football players. So just recap what I like about the Washington Redskins. I love the defensive line, all right? This defensive line could be one of the best defensive lines in all of football. All the talent's there. 5 first-round picks on that defensive line. Dwayne Haskins, the ceiling for this kid is exceptionally high. It's just a question of getting him developed. Third thing, of course, the running back room. First ballot Hall of Famer. Darius Geis, all-talent world. Bryce Love. If he can stay healthy, he's definitely going to contribute. Gibson, currently a running back. I think he's going to be more of a receiver. We'll see what happens. And then the third and fourth round draft picks, players that are going to help Haskins in 2020. So now let's talk about what I don't like about the Washington Redskins. First thing I don't like was the head coach and hire. And I know that a lot of people are going to jump on me because Ron Rivera is a good football coach. But I didn't think he was a good fit for the Washington Redskins. And the reason why is that I really felt you needed an offensive mind. Here you are, got this raw, really awesome quarterback. You need somebody to work with him. That's not Ron Rivera's strength. Ron Rivera is a guy, I thought he should have gone to Cleveland, reunite with his old defensive coordinator, but of course that didn't happen. To tell you the truth, I would have been happy if Cleveland and Washington just flip-flopped coaches. You know, you could have Stefanski, who's an offensive guy, work with Haskins, and Ron Rivera reunite with his defensive coordinator, keep that defense intact, but it didn't happen. Bottom line, I don't know if this is really going to work out. I think Ron Rivera would have been better suited to go with a team with an established offense. This is the worst offense in the National Football League, and Ron Rivera is not known as an offensive guy. So and he's definitely not a quarterback guru, which you really need when you got a guy as raw and talented as Haskins. So I really think that this was a bad hire by the Redskins. Even though I do like Ron Rivera, I just don't think he's a good fit for this team. Number two thing I don't like is that you got a young quarterback and you don't have a number one wide receiver. Yeah, they used the third and the fourth round picks. Again, I think Gibson's going to end up being a receiver, not a running back. But, and yeah, I am aware that McLaren is a good receiver. I don't know if you can call him a number one, especially going into his second year. But you don't have a number one receiver. You don't have a tight end. You got a young quarterback. You need a guy. Who is he going to on 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 7? Who's your number one guy? They really don't have one. So you got a young quarterback. He needs to have a wide receiver. He needs to have a number one guy. And don't give me McLaren. Yes, he could eventually be a number one guy, but if you're going into the 2020 season, you're saying McLaren's a number one wideout, you're just wrong. Number three thing I don't like is the offensive line situation. You lose in Trent Williams, you lose one of the best left tackles in all of football. Our lads has Cornelius Lucas as the starting left tackle, the ESPN's Gurren Christensen. That's not good. All right, the left tackle situation isn't good. The offensive line overall, It's so, I already touched base on that. You got a young quarterback, and he doesn't have a number one wide receiver. Now you didn't go and you're just kind of putting duct tape on. If you follow me, you know how important I think the left tackle position is. So you put duct tape over arguably the second, maybe the most important position on the field, considering that if Haskins gets beat up, he could be shot. So I don't like how they handled that. You could have gone in free agency and got somebody else. You didn't do that. So now you're just kind of, Fourth and final thing is, and this is going to be a something I'm going to say over and over and over again. It's going to be kind of a repeating thing here, but the COVID-19 and no mini camp, no OTAs makes harder for a new system to be put in play. Not only do you have a young quarterback, he's got to learn a new system. You have a defense that, now if you look, the stats didn't look good, but I think it was more due to the offensive side of the ball than the defensive side of the ball. I like Greg Minuski. I think he's a fine defensive coordinator. Is Jack Del Rio an improvement? Yeah, probably. Could Del Rio and Riviera do better than last year's defensive coaching staff? Sure, absolutely. But bottom line, it's a new system. So going into 2020, you're at a disadvantage because you have a new offensive, you have a new defensive system. You're going from a 3-4 to a 4-3. Now, I said this earlier. I think that the defensive line, at least, is better suited for a 4-3, but it's a new system. How fast are they going to get this system implemented? That's going to be a big deal. So, kind of to recap what I don't like, I thought Ron Rivera was a bad fit for this team. No number one wide receiver for Haskins to throw to. The left tackle situation, left tackle offensive line, I think is something that needs to be addressed a little better. And then a new system without the OTA, without the mini camp, it's going to be difficult. Any team bringing in a new head coach, you're going to have this problem. So what did I say? Stick around to the very end where I talked about the Vegas over-under. And if I'm going to put action down on the Washington Redskins now, the over-under is 5.5. And keep in mind, I will probably not be going to Vegas this year. I'm probably going to do my sports betting at William Hill in Iowa. So I'm using the William Hill numbers. Right now, the over-under is -110 for both the over and the under. What this means is that $110 wager will win you $100. Now, I'm not really high on betting the Redskins, but 5.5, in order to hit the over, you need 6 wins. I don't think this team's going to get 6 wins. I think it's a pretty safe bet that this is going to be a bad football team this year. So I think the under is a pretty solid move. The only question mark I have is that I think the NFC East is a pretty weak division. They got 3 wins last year, and I could see them getting 3, 4, maybe even 2 wins this year. This is going to be a bad football team. I like action on the Redskins more than I like action on the Bengals. If you watched my last video, I don't see a way the Redskins are going to be a 6-10 team. However, there is talent here. It's just a question of whether they're going to put everything together. This defensive line could be special, and you have a weaker division. So even though I'm not putting action down, I do. If you are going to put action down on the Redskins, definitely take the under. So listen, if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share with your friends, and hey, wait till tomorrow where I break down the Detroit Lions. So hey, I'll see you tomorrow.